Alright. I messed up my last recording because I forgot to charge my controller, so I don't know what's wrong with my other controllers for this stupid Switch. I feel like all the USBs don't work.
everybody, it's Techno here. Today I'm going to show you the easiest way of finding Galarian Farfetch'd in Pokemon Sword. It is a Sword exclusive, which means you can't find Galarian Farfetch'd in Shield. Go ahead and fly on over to Route 5 on your map. You should be able to find this Pokemon walking around in any one of the patches of grass in this route. It is a rarer encounter at 5%, so you just keep walking around the grass until you see it. Eventually I came across it up here. It shouldn't take you too long, a couple minutes maybe, and there you are. That's Galarian Farfetch'd right there in the wild. So again, it's a Sword exclusive only, which means you can't find it in Shield. That's the easiest way of finding the wild Pokemon in Sword. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, Techno's out.
What's up guys, CJ Initial here to show you the absolute easiest way to evolve your Galarian Farfetch'd into a Sirfetch'd. Now, Galarian Farfetch'd evolves in a very unique way. In order to evolve Galarian Farfetch'd into a Sirfetch'd, you need to hit 3 critical hits with Galarian Farfetch'd in the exact same battle. Now this is much easier said than done, and to do this normally, you need to have the right circumstances as well as a little bit of luck. However, today, I'm going to show you a guaranteed way to get those 3 critical hits in one battle. Super easy. There are just a couple things you're going to need to do this. First, you're going to need a Galarian Farfetch'd, obviously. I highly recommend that this Farfetch'd is level 1. So if you don't have a level 1 Farfetch'd, I highly recommend going to breed a new one, as this will be so much easier if your Farfetch'd is level 1. Also, keep in mind this needs to be the Galarian form of Farfetch'd. So the old school Farfetch'd that we watched on the Pokemon TV show back in the day, that one's not going to work. The second thing you're going to need is a dire hit. This item ups the critical hit chance of the Pokemon it's used on, so we'll be using this during the battle to make the critical hits much more likely. If you don't have any dire hits, they can be bought from the Pokemon Center in Hammerlock, the middle Pokemon Center to be specific, that's right in front of the gym. Once you have your Galarian Farfetch'd, preferably level 1, and your dire hit, fly to the Professor's house in Route 2. Once at Route 2, head to the battle arena that's right in front of the Professor's house. To the left of this is a fishing spot. This is where we're going to evolve our Farfetch'd. In this fishing spot lives the most glorious Pokemon of all time. One that's going to sacrifice itself and be our training dummy so that Farfetch'd can take his true form as Sirfetch'd, Protector of Galar. Magikarp. Fish in this spot until you come across a wild Magikarp. This should take no time at all, and Magikarp has an 80% chance of spawning here, so it's rare to not find one. At the beginning of the battle, use your dire hit on Farfetch'd and begin spamming Peck or whatever other attacking moves Farfetch'd happens to know. Once you land 3 critical hits on Magikarp, go ahead and knock it out, either with Farfetch'd or switch to another Pokemon to speed things up. Then, once the battle ends, watch the evolution animation and enjoy your new Sirfetch'd. The reason this works so well and why a level 1 Farfetch'd is preferred is because you're a couple levels under the Magikarp that live here. It takes a lot of attacks in order to knock one of them out. And since the Magikarp in this spot are low level, they will never damage you because the only thing they know is the move Splash. Hopefully this video helped you out, and if it did, don't forget to leave a like.
Alright, Soul Rock, you gotta do something, man. Jesus Christ. What's she got? Useless, two useless Pokemon. Why does this game give me two useless Pokemon? Oh. Oh, my sound went out, so I'll be your entertainment. Fucking Christ, man. Oh, I hate this.
has had some issues, okay? Last year, Shannon Sharp, actually, maybe it was even this year. Last year, Shannon Sharp somehow didn't know how to turn off Instagram Live while he was having some extracurricular activities with somebody, a friend, right? And he's like, I don't know how to use Instagram. Yeah, for sure. It's like 7 steps to go live. Very, very easy to just press and go live, right? Now, you got to keep in mind, his podcast has blown up. Cat Williams, biggest podcast I think he did of 2023 or 2024.
Club
crushed it, 70-something million. You got to give the guy a shout out. He knows how to get the eyeballs, and he has stayed steady doing what he's done. So shout out to him being phenomenal at the interviews he's done. Not just one, many of them. ESPN done with Shannon Sharp after Bombshell, $50 million rape lawsuit. What was the 19-year-old girl?
How old was she?
Some story, 19, 20, 21-year-old girl. Something happened with the girl. She was a 19 or 20-year-old girl that he was hooking up with, or something happened. All right, let me read this to you. ESPN severed ties with Pro Football Hall of Fame Shannon Sharp, as reported by the Athletic. Andrew Marchand on Wednesday following a settlement of $50 million. Nevada State Court in April accused him of assault, sexual battery, and battery. The plaintiff, Jane Doe, that's obviously not the real name, I'm assuming. Jane Doe, alleged Sharp assaulted her multiple times in late 2024 and early 2025. Sharp denied all allegations of coercion and misconduct, with his lawyer, Lanny J. Davis, stating the evidence paints a clear picture. This was a consensual adult relationship that included role-playing, sexual language, and fantasy scenarios. Sharp stepped away from ESPN's First Take April after joining in 2023, saying, at this juncture, I'm electing to step aside temporarily from ESPN duties. I will be devoting this time to my family and responding and dealing with these false and disruptive allegations set against me at ESPN. Okay. ESPN supported his decision, stating to the press, this is a serious situation and will agree with Shannon Sharp's decision to step away. Now, this is him, what he said yesterday, of how he feels about the decision, and he only had one request from ESPN, which ESPN didn't accept his request. Go for it, Brian.
Started, obviously, I'm sure everybody's heard the news by now that I will not be returning to ESPN. I found out this information a little earlier in the week, and really the only thing that I really asked like, guys, could we wait until Monday? My brother's going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I really wanted to be about him, and I wanted to be about my family. I know this would, I said, this coming out will overshadow everything that he's worked his entire life for. And unfortunately, you know, it didn't happen that way. And so, as I told him, as I profusely apologized to him earlier today, he said, bro, stop apologizing. You don't have to apologize. I'm your big bro. I'm going to love you regardless. We all make mistakes. And he says, bro, I love you. So I'm done with this. You done with it too. Move on. And I really enjoyed my time at ESPN. It gave me an opportunity to bring.
He was very complimentary of ESPN. Didn't say anything bad about ESPN. The only thing that he said is he wanted this to be left till Monday for the Celebration Hall of Fame of Sterling Sharp, etc., etc. Now, having said that, your thoughts on the story?
Again, accusations, all this have to be taken seriously. But I would also say to all these people, because this just seems to be a rinse and repeat story of all of these big names, a lot of them sports that have gone into television, what have you. Accusations come out, then you got lawsuits, then you got your network involved, then you got, salacious details, and then you got more accusers that come out. And first of all, don't do gross things and don't hurt people and don't assault people. First and foremost, I think that's a given. But also, to these people that are in these positions, I've lived by a rule. Don't mess with anybody who has nothing to lose. And by that I mean, not only don't do bad stuff, but if you are a public figure, or if you've got money or fame or a platform, you have to be really, really careful who you spend your time with and what you do and how much you divulge. And it's unfortunate. That's part of the reality, though, of being a public figure, because this kind of stuff can ruin your life. He's got money. He's not going to go broke, we don't think. He'll weather this fine, probably get another gig, do his own thing. But this cloud is going to follow him around probably for the rest of his life. And if it's true, then he deserves it. If it's not, well, that's just more damage from the Me Too movement, that we take everybody's word as gospel now.
I actually love that advice. Be careful associating with people that have nothing to lose. It is so flippin' true. Like, hey, you're hanging out with somebody, they're doing dumb stuff, they go to jail, they don't.
Most people are too lazy to do this, but it saves homeowners a fortune.
I don't care. You can lose your career, everything. That's a very sound advice to anybody that's even younger coming up when you're doing that. By the way, a couple of things I want to give you when, Vinny, I come to you. Yep. Here's a girl's name. Meet Gabrielle Zuniga. If you go a little bit lower, Rob, that's her. Rob, you could have chosen any other picture. You chose that one, Rob. I mean, there's like plenty of pictures you could have done. But all right, so that's the girl. Now, I, at the same time, went online and typed in what his career earnings was. In the NFL over 14 years, he made $22.3 million. $22.3 million, Tom, in 14 years. Not a lot of money after taxes, after agents. So he hasn't made a lot of money. Okay, and he's probably spent a lot of that. Now, YouTube. Can we see how many views his YouTube channel got last 12 months? What did Shannon Sharp's YouTube channel get last 12 months? Can you just go to ChatGPT and ask it, will it show you or no? I just want to know how many views it got. So if you go into Club Shay Shay, okay, he's gotten 1.1 billion views in the last 12 months. Wow. So you take 1.1 billion views, okay? That's total views. Let's say last 12 months is 300 million views. 300 million views, Rob. If you get $4,000 per million view, $4,000 times 300 million two, couple $1 million. So it's not like it's that much money. At Spotify, at sponsorship, let's say his podcast is making him 10 million a year, 5 to 10 million. So he's got money there. I don't know how much his ESPN contract was. Online, they're saying his net worth is 14 million. I don't even know how much he settled for. Is this a $50 million settlement that he did, by the way? Is that the number that we're reading?
That's what I think she was suing for. There's allegedly they settled at 10 million.
Is that the number you're talking about? Okay. So, Tom, question coming your way. Vinny, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to go to him and then I'll come to you. I want to ask him based on this. Yeah. Trevor Bauer.
Yep.
We all know who he is. We've had him on. He's a good friend. We've talked many times. He's visited us many, many times. This guy was at the top of the top, wins the Cy Young Award, meets a girl, they do what they do. All the texts show that it was consensual, and maybe he watched 50 Shades of Grey one too many times. I don't know. Maybe he was inspired by, what's the guy's name? Something Gray, right? Maybe he wanted to be that guy in baseball. Who knows? The girl was okay with it. Then they go to Pasadena court. Then she loses. He's like, dude, okay, can I come back to the MLB? No, you're too toxic. I didn't do anything wrong. No, you can't come back. Rob Manfred doesn't allow this guy to come back. He gets blackballed. Teams are afraid of signing this guy. And then he's now playing the game, not making a lot of money, just having the time of his life in Mexico. But he didn't settle. How different is the Trevor Bauer case versus the Shannon Sharp case, Tom?
Well, the Trevor Bauer case, what we found out at the end, with 3 texts from her to a friend, did you get the bag? Did you set it up? And those were there, and Pasadena prosecutors sat on that for months, which if you take something like that to a grand jury, the grand jury goes, no, wait a minute here. This is like a premeditated entrapment here. She's trying to entrap to get the civil suit, to get the headlines, which would compel him to settle a civil suit. It's a playbook. It's a playbook for the cleat chasers. Now, I agree with Tommy that you got to be careful, and if you've gone out there and you've really assaulted somebody and done something, then women need to be protected, victims need to be protected, given their silence, get it to the grand jury, and prosecution has to take place. That's not what happened to Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer met a cleat chaser. She enacted the entrapment, but he wouldn't back down. But baseball, under social pressure at that time, flinched. And they suspended him during the investigation. That's normal. Baseball will say, hey, you get arrested, something's up, you're going to go on, basically the equivalent of administrative leave. We're going to let this thing play out. But Trevor gave facts, was bringing receipts, and was very compelling in that. But then baseball didn't come back the other way and say, whoops, sorry. Now, many people, including me, think the reason baseball wouldn't do that, it opens them up to a civil suit, because then he gets to go after baseball. So you really shouldn't have suspended me. You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have leaked to the media.
Let me ask you.
Coming after.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
So baseball stands with. We stand by our decision.
But I'm asking you a question. So let's just say that's the case, and I'm with you there. Can Trevor Bauer's lawyers go to Manfred and say, we are willing to hold you harmless if you allow me to come back, that I can never sue you in the civil court? Can Trevor Bauer's lawyers go request that from MLB?
Yes, they can, and I think they did. I'm not going to speak for his agent, Rachel Luba, but I believe Rachel and Trevor even went to teams and said, look, if you want to test the announcement, I'll play for $0. Just test the announcement, and let's see if there's a pop of Me Tooism or some people that are reacting without the facts. And then, as that dies down, I'll play this year for free. Instead, he goes to Mexico, wins the equivalent of the Mexican Cy Young and the championship of the Mexican League. And this year, he's back with the Bay Stars in Japan. And the fans love him. And by the way, the fans in Mexico and the fans in Bay Stars, they love him. Yeah. Because what does he do? He throws a great ball, and he helps them win.
Are you kidding me? This guy was documented. He was like the first YouTuber baseball player showing the experience of baseball, bringing young guys wanting to watch the game. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Trevor's a friend of mine as well, and I've had him on at my show, and this is devastating. But it's not only that they won't let him come back. I mean, let's be honest, he's not at the top of his career anymore. It's been years since then. In baseball, your longevity is only so long. So they robbed him of many millions of dollars because of this. But this goes back to, again, and I think this should be lessons for all young athletes out there. When they're doing all this NIL crap, instead, do a lesson on who to associate with and who not to associate with.
Then tell me, I got a question for you. So I'm a single baseball player, okay? Your husband, baseball, right? Okay. So I'm a single baseball player. I'm a single football player. I got girls running up to me left and right. How the hell do I go find the girls that I want to have fun with that have a lot to lose? Like, there's not a website that says, find the rich her, right? Finder, I don't know what, Tinder, like,
Yeah.
How do I go link up with only girls that also have money, career, that have a lot to lose? How do I find them?
It's not even that you have to find somebody that has a lot to lose. It's just maybe show a little restraint. A little personal restraint. Nothing saying that you can't be in a relationship with a girl that maybe has nothing to lose. That's fine. But you've got to, when you're a public figure, it's not maybe fair, but you're going to have to reserve some of yourself until you can trust somebody and maybe not do the kinky role play and all this stuff. You might have to just kind of pull back yourself a little little bit.
Trevor's not gonna like that.
Well, I think he's learned his lesson now. I think he'd rather have his baseball career back
Well,
and, you know.
I think he didn't have the contract that Derek Jeter had in New York, allegedly, where Derek Jeter had a very tight contract that any girl that he would have fun with. I don't know if you've heard about the story. Jeter's, I mean, there's stories on this. And then at the end of the visit to his penthouse or whatever room was, they would get a gift bag, signed ball, all this other stuff they would do. But his lawyer would have him allegedly sign a contract with girls before he had any kind of, you know,
An NDA
relationship.
maybe?
Yeah. And Vinny, your thoughts on this
Well,
story?
first of all, Pat, you know the app that we were talking about, the app that we kind of came up with.
Yeah.
Pat, there needs to be an app called a consensual app where you're like, oh, I'm this guy, you want to have sex? Make a video. I'm down to do it. Nothing. You can't sue me. Just something that's on the file. Because listen, at the end of the day, Shannon Sharp, and I love him. And guys, I'm not judging him, but he's a victim of his own doing. Okay, this is what happens when you chase fame and flesh instead of purpose and discipline. Okay, and you think you're untouchable. That's what starts happening. And mind you, he's been vocal. You've seen him and Chad Ochocinco tell me when they're on the podcast, they're talking about chicks and girls and doing all that.
Ocho's a little bit more conservative than him. As weird as it sounds.
Seriously?
Oh, it's not even. He's in a relationship. It's way more conservative.
Okay, it's weird, but she makes a great point. It's when people are around you that have nothing to lose, that's what happens. And then you accidentally are on IG Live and you're hooking up with a girl, and it's like, listen, this isn't about cancel culture, Pat. It's about consequences. Okay, when you live that reckless life, eventually the mask slips off. Okay, you think you're in control, but you're not. Okay, and again, and I'm not being that guy, but I have to. I'm not judging him, but the closer you get to God, the less you're going to be doing this stupid hooking up, recording, doing this, and then all of a sudden it hits you in the face. How many more of these guys, you nailed it, are we going to see? How many big name, famous people, athletes, whatever, are going to get destroyed from one night?
Let's see what this guy's got.
I want to hear
He's got
this.
some of these friends that.
Yeah, Adam.
Yeah,
You know,
guys.
some
Adam, what is
hooligans.
your thought?
Well, listen, I was told to believe all women. And I was lied to. Because turns out women, much like any other person, will lie sometimes.
What?
Yeah, they'll do it. And especially when there's multi-millionaire celebrity athletes, politicians, producers, rappers, you fill in the blank, and you're just a young, pretty female. I've learned this, and we've seen this one happen. The right woman will turn a millionaire into a billionaire. The wrong woman will turn a millionaire into a brokey. Just like that. And we're starting to see all the cracks in the charade of this Me Too movement, where it turns out a lot of these women were actually lying. So, what happened with Trevor Bauer? Turns out she was full-on lying. What happened with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? Turns out she was the
She was
psychopath.
pooping on his bed.
Yeah. Turns out Andrew Tate, they've been throwing the book at this guy, 0 charges at this point. Donald Trump himself. How many women have accused Donald Trump of inappropriate sexual behavior? Has he been found guilty of anything other than that one weird lady with
Crazy one that said,
with
"I think
Anderson
rape's
Cooper,
a fantasy."
Russell Brand, Jared Leto, even Kevin Spacey, even Harvey Weinstein to a weird extent. Candace Owens out there. Not that I found
Fuck!
with
Fuck!
his credibility these days.